Islam. And yes, we are live. Yes, we are live on Let's Think Podcast. I'm your host, Sheikh 7 Islam L, and we have our co-host, Brother Jarvis McGriff. And guess
Islam.
we can only do the right thing, and we ride. In the spirit of seven, give it all thanks and perfect praises unto Allah. Highest honor to his holy prophet. Honors to the forerunner Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Honors to the Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish Divine and National Movement. We give all thanks and perfect praises unto Allah. We give honors to all past and present leadership. We give all thanks and praises to Allah, to all participating in the comprehensive program of uplifting fallen humanity. I'm your co-host. I'm your host. Your host. Yeah, I'm your host, Brother Sheikh 7 Islam L. And we're here. So, what we have going on here today? Oh, the chat going crazy already. We got Project Baby and Me podcast. Peace, Islam,
Mhm.
Mo. We got uh Ishmael Young. Yeah, Islam. Please share as y'all come in. Please hit the share button. Matter of fact, let me stop. Don't forget to shop Fayetteville
Oh yeah,
for
yeah.
your urban Islamic experience. He makes fezzes, beads, urban clothes with Islamic, spin. Get your apparel. I got some. I got some. So get yours. Fayetteville. Fayetteville.com. Yes. So we're here and we got our brother Kemetian Adept Heruphant here in the building. And you know what? Let me talk about this. Let me talk about this, brother.
Hmm.
Give me an opportunity to talk about this, brother. I met this brother in the flesh. You know, me and him, we did our building online, and then I met him in the flesh. I pressed palms with him. It was a great experience. The brother is like, he's a brother. If you know what being a brother means, he's a brother. You know what I mean? And he's my brother. Let me say that he's my brother. You know, and he came today to present a measure. The measure is always the measure.
Mm-hmm.
The measure stick is truth. And my brother come to drop some truth. So I want to talk to the brother. Islam, brother. Islam, brother. Can you hear me?
You on mute, brother? Oh,
Yes,
there we
sir.
go.
Islam, Grand Man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Islam. Islam. So first and foremost, brother, I think everybody's seen you on YouTube. They've seen you on other platforms. They seen you on my platform. But guess what I'm gonna do right now before we get into your presentation? We're gonna allow one to know who Kemetian Adept Heruphant is. You hear me? Because see, they hear you talk, they see you present, but do they know who you are? What motivated you, brother man? Because see, Islam is such a vast school. You know what I mean? When they hear an adept or a hierophant, they hear a sheik guess, whatever the case may be. We have to now ask the question, what is your history in Islam? How did you grow and unfold into this pristine understanding in which our holy prophet brought us?
Islam.
Islam.
Well, having already risen, want to continue to rise in ascension, giving praises to the great God Allah first and foremost. Honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere. And therefore, honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves, Give honors to our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution, and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are a living manifestation and personification of everything that our Holy Prophet brought to exhume us as a nation. Good brother, I basically came through the vicissitudes, of this journey, just as most of us have. We actually had to find our way out of the darkness into this marvelous light, of Islamism. And my process actually started, through my youth. I was embraced by a good brother from Chicago, in the youth organization phase, and I took that particular journey real serious. And so it was that knowledge I have to give credit to, honors to those who come through those teachings, and I'm speaking of the teachings that come through the lineage of my beloved brother elder, may he rise in power, Chief Pepperlo, and also our elder Bobby Gore. For those who know them individuals, then they know what I'm speaking of. I don't even have to go into the rest. But the particular brother that embraced me on that particular level gave me the science, brother, and I got thirsty. I wanted to know what that 360 was that was being spoke of in the literature. I wanted to know the meaning behind I, self, Lord, and Master. Arm, leg, arm, head.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to know, why I had to memorize the Al-Fatiha. The true meaning behind the holy divine, the statement of love.
Yes, sir.
That's where my journey started at. I took it serious, as one who came through the tribe of El Shabazz. And man, I took off, and I want to give honors to my elders such as Benny Lee, because he right there on the front line, still doing that great work. Professor Benny Lee, well-known brother. I want to give honors to him and all the righteous and wise and beloved who taught the truthful and fruitful teachings, and I was able to get some fruit from that tree that brought me into the path of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. As I come to find later after going deeper into the law that I was given. So that's what started my journey. And so I've been cared for by many masters along the way. I had a real deep history and connection to, revolutionary concept, because I was real rough around the edges, at one time. I was a rough individual. And so I had a brother who actually was taught by the family of the Shakors, and he actually was sat at the feet of Auntie Asada, Auntie Afeni, and all of them. And I was given history about certain things like the different brothers, who were in the streets of even New York. Before these things became movies, I was given history about these Muslims that end up going into the streets, be it the Supreme Team, be it, this is through this brother. He gave me all this history, the history of what you see in Paid in Full. This brother lived in them areas. So I was being given a lot of different wisdom, but nevertheless, one thing I learned from the brother, he say, because I was real rigid, always ready to go to war with these Europeans. He say, brother, I want you to go and read a book called The Spook Who Sat by the Door. And I seen the movie. I never read the book, but I seen what he was saying, and I came to the conclusion that this brother was telling me ain't nothing wrong with being willing to sacrifice, but don't make a vain sacrifice. Don't die just because. Go for the cause if that's what it is. And that's something that I vowed even, coming into the youth organization, to love my people, teach my people, and if so, it be the will of Allah, die for my people. But we living for the people. We done died countless deaths when it come through, the different cycles of life in order to get here. So that allowed me to come through the teachings of my prophet. And I was reached out to, as I came up through the teachings of my chairman, being the adept that he was, and I just wanted to fall back because I had been teaching our people, brother, at that time for over about almost 15, 20 years, and I had them ran into the best of the Hebrew Israelites throughout that time of period, sitting down right there with them, different people. I would sit in circles, but I was always about trying to unite our people, and so that's always been in me. So I was trying to bridge the gaps, but I seen that our people didn't want to do it. And even then, without because I got a lot of stuff up here, I really don't need the books. But I say you got to show and prove. That's what I learned from my 5%. You got to show. You got to show and prove. You hear me?
It ain't that you don't need the book. You ate the book.
I ate the book. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
And when I say that, that's what I mean. I'm saying that, I could say these things verbatimly off of the head without the book, but if I don't show it to them, they ain't gonna want it.
Right.
You understand? And so that's what made me say, okay, I got to use my 5% style, show and prove.
No, yeah.
And so I applied that.
Yeah.
The prophet say you from the show me state.
Yeah. Exercise the 5.
Our people.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short and all that, my chairman told me one day, he said, I see you like to teach, huh? I got something for you.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and so,
sir.
Long story short, I've been on the manifest ever since. And be honest with you, I didn't even intend to call myself Kemetian Adept by YouTube name. I took that because it was conferred upon me by him. You was there when he conferred it in the meeting.
I was there.
And so I just put that. Yeah, I just put that in the page. And it stuck. It stuck. It stuck. And so a lot of make no mistakes.
Mo, I'm gonna tell you something that made me understand who you were. Is that though we may have what one would consider differences, right? I always, when I saw you, I told you I wanted to meet you, right? I told you that on Facebook before we ever met in the flesh. I said, bro, it would be an honor to meet you. And when I had the opportunity, one thing we should do is brothers and sisters, when we meet brothers that we know, whether we agree or not agree in different things, those things are superficial in the overall goal of uplifting fallen humanity. You know what I'm saying? But I noticed this brother right here was serious about what he taught and what he stood on. And no matter if I agree with it or I don't, if I see that you are standing on what you stand on and you stand on it, not with just your lip service, but also with your actions, your character, and what you give to the people, I can only respect it. That's all I can do. You know what I'm saying? At that point. And this is the place that humanity needs to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Is that we need to learn to say, okay, listen, I may not see it the way you see it, right? But we all looking at the same thing. We all looking at the same thing. The Hebrew Israelites, they looking at the same thing. No matter what Moorish American organization that you're a part of, you're looking at the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Jewish, we're looking at the same thing. So let's get to a point where we begin to develop a consciousness that is cohesive for the betterment of all of humanity. But see, this is
Bridge
what
the gaps. Bridge the gaps.
You know what I'm saying? This is what he gave us, the ability to do just that. So, Tariq, thanks for the $20 super chat. Thanks for the lecture from Sister Dana. Islam, and she will be coming back. We got Ishmael Young, who says Honors to the prophet, honors to my brother Moore. Honors to you.
Islam.
Honors to you. But our brother has a presentation tonight, right? That, you know, I called my brother because he's been on the platform before. I called my brother. I said, brother, it's about time to get you back on the platform, you know, to bring the side of the equation and the perspective that he brings. Because all of us are useful for right now.
Mm-hmm.
All of us for you are useful for right now. And I believe his message and what he brings is useful for the expansion of the consciousness, not for the consolidation, not for bringing things into 3D dimensions and parallels where we tend to, you know, cause a separatist view of things. No, let's get it together. That's why he told me, brother, I want to do this presentation today. And I said, you know what, brother? That's perfect for today. So without further ado, I'm allow my brother to do his thing. And brother Shadu, everybody know you as Kemetian Adept Heruphant, but I'm gonna call you brother Shadu because you my brother. I don't know what they call you. You my brother Shadu. And I'm gonna let brother Shadu, pull up his screen and demonstrate his measure. And if you have any questions throughout this presentation, super chat your questions. Super chat your questions, and we'll get right to him because guess what? He loves questions.
Mm-hmm.
He want to answer. And guess what? He's a debater too. He's a debater. So if you don't like what he's saying and you want to come up here and present your part or your portion of the understanding, he's always willing to oblige you. He's always willing to oblige you. Just like anybody else I bring to this platform. That's one thing that we do. Everybody who comes here is willing to oblige you, even me. So just because I don't say anything, I'm willing to oblige you. But anyway, brother, Kemetian Adept Heruphant, my brother should do. You ready? You ready to give them what they looking for? You ready?
Islam.
Islam.
Islam. All is well, good brother. All is well.
Screen and get it on.
Islamism without the schism.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Without the schism. And, and,
All
and listen,
right.
Ashmal Young, I appreciate the super chat. Super chat your questions. Y'all continue to super. Everybody hit the like button. Matter of fact, hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Even if you don't have the super chat to donate, you could at least hit the like button. It's free. Share to your social media. It's free. You hear me? But we do appreciate all those who monetarily support the channel because we need it. We definitely need it. And I actually humbly ask that you support the channel. So super chat your questions. The cash app is pinned in the comments. And let's go. Let's go, brother Shadu.
Islam. And I want to give honors. We were just speaking of the twins, and they go one of them right there. Good brother Kerry Allen there.
Where you
Yeah,
at?
we give honors
In
to.
the chat.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
we were just speaking good things about that angel, and he done come on to manifest. The angel is a thought manifested
Oh,
in human flesh.
That's
oh,
it.
and Carrie.
Yeah, if you don't want more to know, don't think it.
Hold up. Carrie. Brother Carrie. Islam Sheik. Islam Mo. Man, you got
It's
something to talk.
no.
Man, you got something to talk about. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, yeah. So, and that's my brother. And let me say this. For everybody that thought that the twins would not come on Let's Think podcast, they will be coming to Let's Think podcast. Stop thinking that They're not my brothers. They are my brothers. I talk to these brothers on a regular basis. They're my brothers. Okay? So they will be coming to the Let's Think podcast. And guess what? When they come, you better support. So let's go, brother. Let's go.
Islam. Well, all right.
Hey,
Just let me know if my screen is shared. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and hit entire screen.
yes, sir.
That way, I'm sharing everything, and when I'm navigating, our family can get it.
Yeah.
Okay, just let me know if we there. It's in
Mhm.
queue.
We in here.
Okay, gratitude.
Yes, sir.
Islam.
Islam.
Islamism. Well, all right. We want to give our family some grand drawing on what we're dealing with right now. You know, again, I've already risen, giving praises to the great God Allah, you know, and honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And so we're going to come forth, you know, with this grand measure. And this is coming forth from, you know, my inner circle, the Egyptian Adeptist Research Sultanate session. You know, even though we might do our own research, we give credit to the whole of the session. And you know who they are if you've been on some of my videos, you know. So let us move forward. You know, for those who are on my page.
Hold on.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Grand Man.
You finna start something right here.
You gotta start.
Yeah, you finna start something right here. Let's start all the questions. Because I know they come. Let's get it in. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We standing on this premise here. Let's go. Let's go, brother. Let's go.
Yes, sir. And these are bold claims that we done made, and nobody has been able to debunk these things, even the famed so-called modern Egyptologists, so to speak.
Do
You
we
know,
invite
among our people.
do we invite them? We invite them?
They can come up here if they want to, you know. We just want to be able to get a presentation to the people because it ain't gonna be a long one. And we'll open up the floor. Anybody can come.
Yes,
But
sir.
the thing is, after what's being delivered, you know,
What can you
you
say?
got to be able to have something to come with. We're not just looking for opinions. We want, you know, documentation to try to debunk what we brought forth here.
Bring your receipts.
You know, not just talk. So if you come on the panel, that's all we ask, that you bring your documentation.
Please
If
do.
you have, you know, a
If
problem
you
with it.
have some. If
And
you
we'll address, you know, the further measures during a showdown if that's what they want to do. But what I'm bringing forth has never been brought forth before our people until I brought it forth. And
Okay.
being a study of the linguistics and understanding exactly how the language worked among our ancient ancestors outside of the methodology that has been modernly accepted in the mainstream on the Champollion, trust me, you know, they don't really want no smoke. Because, you know, not only do I have primary sources to show you, you know, the oldest writing that deal with the language of our people come from what we call hieratic. You know, they call it hieratic, but it's really called Medu Ray and Kemet. That's called the language of the ancient Egyptians, not Medu Netta. Medu Netta, you know, is on a deeper level that deals
Priestly
more
language.
with, that's more of the symbolic, the metaphoric, the metaphysical. And the
Like a
reason we
priestly
can say this
language,
because one of the last Egyptian priests, before Champollion comes on the manifest, they had the same methodology that's found that are in the chambers that are mentioned in our Moorish paradigm when Yehoshua went into those chambers. He didn't have no alphabet chart. He was told to meditate and contemplate upon the hieroglyphs. But that's neither here nor there.
right?
But
Brother,
what we do know,
may I ask a question?
go ahead, good brother.
Brother, before we even get started, the
Mm-hmm.
better netter, as I heard, because
Mm-hmm.
evidently you're more educated along these lines. But this is what I've heard. It's not what I know. Because you know,
Mm-hmm.
man knows not by being
That's
told.
right. That's right.
However, I heard that Medu Neter is more of a priestly language than a common language.
Right. It wasn't taught to the masses.
Okay.
And that's why we asked, how you gonna come later and you wasn't a priest And then he learned from a third-party source. He didn't even see the Rosetta Stone in person in the beginning.
Oh, man.
And I don't even think he ever seen it at all.
Oh,
But he
man.
used a replica. And the Rosetta Stone was based on Greek language. They had some Demotic in there, but there was no hieratic in there. And Demotic is not Greek, nor is Demotic hieratic. So if the documents that are primary sources are found in hieratic, and there is no tool of decipherment for that, then how can you even begin to talk and speak as if something has been deciphered when they didn't have a tool to decipher the hieratic? You see?
Yes, sir.
But we're going to tell you what happened with it because there was some covering up. We'll get into that on another presentation. Right now, what we will tell you that anytime you see these pictures here, like the three vases or the flags here, you know, these are expressions that mostly came from the determinative charts of Gardenia, where they tried to reverse engineer. Look up what reverse engineer means. You know, reverse engineer these hieratic or hieratograms are what we call ligatures, you know, which didn't represent alphabets, but they represented whole words. And we're going to get into the definition of what this word is and what this word is. Because though they both come out of the 18th dynasty, it's actually two different words here, but they are relative to the proto-alaglyph. As you can see, both of them look like if you ever looked at the alaglyph, they got so much calligraphy and different ways of expressing the alaglyph. You can even go to the nodes in your phone when they charge it. They got alaglyphs that look like that if you were to Google enough of them. So there are different styles. That's where you see three of them right here.
Can I show you one?
Go ahead, brother.
I'm going to show
Go
you
ahead.
one. Hold on. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead and demonstrate. I'm going to go get it and come back.
That's right. And I'm talking about this many, family. But these are three that I put here so that you would be able to see the likeness of the ones that are here. And I'm calling these proto-alaglyphs not just because they look like or they are in the likeness of this, that's the grand key, but because of the meaning of these two glyphs. And this one actually cuts off here, this top portion, these first four here, and then this is actually the second portion. And the only reason I have them together is because they both come out of the 18th dynasty. And this 18th dynasty is key. Because the 18th dynasty, go ahead, good brother.
That's the top glyph.
Yes, sir. And the bottom. They both come out of there. But the thing is about it, they come from Amenhotep the fourth, who became known as Akhenaten, the founder of monotheism. And there are more outside of this. I have more outside of this, but these are the ones that I brought forth because they are easier, you know, to digest for our people. Now, this symbol here, meaning vessels, you know, I like to call it a symbol of the triune a lot, putting more science on it, wisdom, will, and love, because that's who the great God is, wisdom, will, and love. But then here, see, I'm giving you a metaphysical breakdown through more science. This is what adepts do. See, the flag represents the Neteru in singular and plural. Because the only thing
represents the divinity, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what the flag represented. It represented God. It actually was the symbol for what they call God.
So what kind of flag is the Moors?
There you go. There you go. Now you get it. So even though we look at the banners as banners we fly, the true banner represent our essence. You see? So whether we look at it as a singular or a plural expression, the U from the vowel, you know, being included is the only thing that separates the singular expression from the plural, but yet this is still the work of the grand architect. The grand architect come forth to demonstrate, and there are those who work, so to speak, that bring forth the work, but he still get the credit for the job.
Absolutely.
That's why we see in the Old Testament, they say the Elohim came forth. You see the word Elohim in the book of Genesis.
Absolutely.
When it say, let us make man, but it still was the credit of the great God Allah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
just like saying, is the power of the finger still the power of the hand?
That's right. In other words, we're dealing with the attributes in action.
Absolutely.
But the source of the attribute cannot be denied as being the source.
Absolutely.
And that's the oneness that we're getting ready to express, that we talk about when we say the Proto Islamic concept. So let
So
us go forward.
you had a brother say the Canaanites, aka Phoenicians, created the alphabet from the Metaneto and created Latin, Arabic, Hebrew, Aramaic language.
He's
Understanding?
somewhat right. He's somewhat right. He on the right track, but it's actually the alphabet that comes forth. It derived from Hieratic and then became Phoenician. And
Whoa.
those who you call Phoenician are relative to Canaanites. So then this is where the Canaanites came forth with their alphabet from the Phoenicians. And then you get your Hebrew and your Arabic. And then all of these other languages that come forth, Latin and all of that.
Whoa.
You know, in detail. You know, that's actually how it come on to manifest. And we got sources for this, but that's another class.
Yeah, we're gonna do that one too.
Yes, sir. We gonna do that.
Do that one too. Yeah.
We gonna do that.
We're gonna do all the language classes that he's already presented on his. We're gonna bring it over here.
Many times.
Yes, sir.
So let us move forward, because I got a little ground to cover, and I want to make sure I cover all of it.
Let's go, bro.
So what I'm showing then is not just the picture. Like I said, it's good to see that. We obviously can see that's definitely a proto expression of the Allah glyph. We can all agree with that, couldn't we, brothers?
Just looking at it. Just looking at it.
But the fact that it come out of the 18th dynasty, and now I'm finna go into the definition of these words, and it's gonna remove all doubt. We know Neter mean God, but this is actually Kenti. Kenti is what this says. I'm gonna show you what Kenti means. Kenti and Neter are the two words being used. I say Neter equals Allah. In other words, God equals Allah, whether you say it Kemetically or you say it in the Arabic. Now watch this. Many of you are familiar with this. There's been nobody that has been able to debunk this. I done presented this many times. And what I have shown is the evolution of the language, since we're speaking of that. I've shown the evolution, and this is what we call the Demotic script. It comes after the Arabic. What we found in this particular document, we found the Allah glyph in the Demotic as well, which is where the Arabic directly come from. And I actually, in this document, I show many different Arabic alphabets, you know, from the letter B, you know, and different aspects of it all throughout this demonstration.
And
I showed, you know, the wall.
Too. I've heard people come to you about this.
Yeah.
But they can't debunk it. They can't debunk it.
Yeah, they can't debunk it, but they actually see it. And this is nothing more than what we call Proto-Arabic, or what was called Mudar by Ibn Khaldun.
That's what I was going to ask you. That's what
this is the Mudar that's relative to the language of the ancient Egyptian that he was talking about. And we got proof of this. We got proof of this, you know, based upon this. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about before I go past this particular measure. And I'm going to go to this particular document here to show you a picture of this. Because when I do things, I'm very careful before I put information out there. I don't just throw nothing out there because it sounds good or because it look good. I do my research thoroughly, and then I bring forth that in my claim. This is the same document that I was just showing you all. Now, this one I use to show our family, you know, the relationship between the language. This is Nabatean, Arabic over here. I'm going to show y'all this actual document in a minute. This is Arabic. This is the Nakashi script, and this is Kufic. Pay attention to these scripts because they represent the evolution of the Arabic language. You know, this is what we normally see as Arabic in this style, and this style that goes all the way over here in the Nakashi script, in the Kufic. But many don't know about the scripts here. And I'm going to show you that whole document real quick. I ain't going so much into this to go into the essence of it, because I'm going to say that for another bill. But to give our people some history, it's a must that I go here to show them exactly what I'm talking about. So this is that document uncovered, unmasked. When you go back further into the evolution of this script, look at the changes in this from the Nabatean, which is still dealing with, the same scripts that you will find in the city of Petra and so forth and so on. Look at the style of the writing here. It don't look like the Arabic that you know of. You see what I'm saying? But it is still Arabic. It's Proto-Arabic. Now watch this. Look at these real close, these characters. Now let's go over to this particular document here that is from Demotic. Look at the characters there. Do you see the style of these different expressions in the Demotic? Look at them.
Sure.
Now look at the Proto-Arabic. Look at the Proto-Arabic. That's the Mudar connection. Now this particular document comes out, of what we call the Philae Gate of, Hadrian, North Wall in the corridor, of Kemet, if you want to go look that document up. And I just pretty much blowed it up so you can see it, but it's right there under the pharaoh. Same characters in Proto-Arabic before it evolves into the modern day script that we see today. Ain't that something else?
That is something else.
And we can't deny that. But if we understand this, this is also the same measure here that they actually used, and it's what they call a Canaanite script or a Hebrew script. We can show you all of that. Look. See the Arabic here in the modern form that we see it? See how they show you the closeness, and look at the Sabian script. That's very close. The Lyhianite, the Talmudic script. You see how the characters change? But yet and still, they all represent what we call the Abjad language. The Abjad, ABGD, is the DNA of all alphabet. So if an alphabet is of the Abjad, in most cases, you will see that they connect to each other, irregardless of the change of the characters. It's a part of the Abjad family, so it is an Abjad language. And there's also another language, the HLM language, but we'll get into that later. But all of them come from our ancestors. So being that I'm showing you the connection, and I'm showing you this concept of this language as it relates to the Mudar, now it makes you easy in your mind to digest what it is that we're really trying to bring forth to you. When we show you this picture here, you see, when we remove all doubt, and this was doing our research, the Egyptian Adept research, I went and I said, oh man, that's the glyph. And I was really going through this document looking for different letters that compare to the Arabic alphabet, when I stumbled across these. This is a whole expression. And so that's what brought us to, the grand measure that I was giving our family here in this particular drawing that we was on. So the deepest aspect, it says the Kemetic origins of the Arabic glyph for Allah originate from the Demotic papyri and House of Ptah. If you know anything about Islam and you study the teachings of Ptah dealing with peace, or go and study the images of the House of Ptah, you're going to find a lot of the prayer positions that you find in Salat, which I call Egyptian yoga. That's nothing more than sun salutations that we would call it as yogic masters, so to speak, from a Kemetic standpoint. So you see here in between the jet pillars, which are very famous in a lot of initiatic systems, Sufism, even among Western Freemasonry. When you go between, they call it, some people call it entering the porch between the middle chamber. But this is top, standing between the jet pillars. This is a Kemetic relic. So I seen in the relic, the Allah glyph. And I say, oh my God. So this is another Kemetic connection. Now, I don't know about nobody else, but if you're dealing with a trial and somebody on trial and they go to finding all this type of evidence on the scene, they gonna say, yeah, he did it. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't just look over all this evidence. This ain't mere speculation, people. We finna show you the history that connects to it, though. So I seen this and I say, wow, a log glyph. Okay, then I say, okay, here in the Demotic is here too. Then I look and I found one particular image that has been used to slander Islam. This image of the God-man with the solar disk being cradled by the moon. And they say, that's a lot of moon god. They got the right idea, but they have the wrong concept. You see, because
concept.
This statue is only an expression of anthropomorphism. It doesn't represent this as being a pagan deity. This represents one that is expressing the presence of the Neteru. And we're going to get into this. Now, go into your Yusuf Ali translation for those who deal with Orthodox Islam. There are many words that we call strong words. This is actually the methodology we use to compare if a word is strong or not. Because in most cases, they come in a triad expression. You find them in the Hebrew, Arabic, and you find them in the Egyptian. That's how I vet words. You know, if they in all three of those particular ranges, then we know both the Arabic and the Hebrew have their root in the Kemetic. Even though we have just the Arabic word here, Waj, Allah. This is mentioned in the Quran. It is synonymous with the Kemetic word Wajet Allah. And this could only be normal because Ishmael, being a descendant of Egyptian blood, according to the teaching, his mother being Egyptian, his father being Cushite, is only natural through the lineage that something is inherited of the language and coming down through the descendants. This is why you see Hebrews say, As-shalom alaykum, and Muslims say, Assalamu alaikum. Different dialects, but you can tell. Shalom, salam. Even the word kara in the Hebrew that is said to represent recite, the word that was revealed to Muhammad, ikra, they both come from the same root, kara. Take that back to Kemet. What does Ka and Ra represent? Ka represents the soul of spirituality, divine light. Ra represents the same. We're talking about holy breath. You see? Kara. You see? Even the word Muhammad is in the Hebrew language as well as the Arabic. Before he was born and after he was born. The name Yehoshua or Issa was Egyptian or Kemetic before it became Hebrew. We're going to get into all of that in due time. So it's not a wonder that we see Wajala in relation to Wajet. What is the relation? Wajet equals the eye of Ra and Heru. We've seen the Wajet. There it is right there. You see the statue holding the same Wajet in hand. This is key because we're going to go into the science of it. These symbols of eye of Ra and Heru Kemetically represents the omnipresence of God in man. And I gave that a Moorish Holy Quran definition. You see? This is what we call plumbing the line of divinity of the matter. So watch Allah going into the Quran. This is Yusuf Ali's, listen to his commentary. I just gave you the definition of Waj here, according to Kemet. Waj Allah is the transcendent essence of everything or inner reality of each entity. Wherever you turn, there's the face, reality of Allah. Surah 2 Ayat 115 and also Surah 2 Ayat 112, it say whithersoever you turn. Not only it says that, but it says basically whosoever submit their whole self to Allah, their person. So the same word waj is used for person or their inner being is used for the face of Allah. So now you understand why, according to Moorish science, we say when you look into the face of man, you look into the face of Allah. It's not talking about You know, the carnal aspect, the true face is the inner self of man.
Absolutely.
And Yusuf Ali covers this in his commentary on the word Wajala. Look those ayats up while I'm saying.
And also look at the concept of interface.
There you go. You see? And so we see Ayah is actually who that is that's standing upon the square there. Ayah, or Aya, some people say. Ayah, Ya, La, Allah, 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 and Allah. I showed the evolution of this word in both the Hebrew Yah and the Arabic Allah are connected here, not only by this word, because if we go into the aspect of Yahweh and you deal with those letters backward,
Oh, bro, you got to bring that degree. You got to
oh
bring
yeah, and you sound shift the consonant, you actually get who he. The H stays the same in who, the H stays the same in he, but the I is interchangeable with the Y. The U is interchangeable with W. And then who he is commissioned at oh man, look at this connection coming straight out of there, and that's that triunity. That's that strong word I'm giving again. So nevertheless, I'm showing you how we came to this conclusion. Let's go further into this same image though. Watch this, because we moving now. There was a brother, if you've seen the video, most of us have, a Wolof brother in the pyramids, and he was talking, and our brother, may he rise in power, Roshiki.
I remember that video.
He was there, and the brother was telling him that Allah, you know, represented the arm. It means to give. A Wolof brother was saying this. This is what he was referring to. See that right there? Imi, it means to give here, right? This symbol is what they call it as a determinative. But watch this. There go Ayah again, right? Whom a lot of people try to, like I say, they trace it back correctly to Allah, but they have no idea of the concept. So you will find most people say, well, this is Ah. That's not an alphabet. That's a thing. See, people, places, and things is what Metal Netta represent. So this is the expression Ah, right here being demonstrated. And then you see the eye in his hand. This is supposed to be expression of Ra. Now, when you go into linguistics, and I'm going to show you in a minute, the letter R is interchangeable with the letter L. Anybody that notice in linguistics. That's why when you hear L, Ra, Ra, if you try to roll the L, it's going to sound like R. If you try to roll the R, it's going to sound like L. Do it. Ra. Roll it as an L and roll it as an R. And it's still going to have the same, so they're interchangeable. So we can say Ara, Allah. You see what I'm saying? Right. Now, when the prophet put his hand over his heart, where's the nearest place you can meet Allah?
It's in the heart.
You see what I'm saying? But they're displaying it to you here, you know, in this particular relic, you know, of Ayah. You know, this is a book that's called, it came from Aliism. Y'all got to check that one out. That's a hidden Jew. You know, it deal with, you know, the Sephiroth. You got it?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
And listen to what they say in this measure of Aliism. This ain't an Arabic source. This is a Hebrew source that deals with Kabbalah, the Zohar.
Absolutely.
And it says, thus was it that the letter A became so sacredly associated with the idea of deity, who was himself called Al or Allah, the generic supreme name of God as worship among the eldest patriarchs. The life of Allah or God was the life that the true Aliists always desired to cultivate and to lead. Hence, Aliism, or the life of God in the soul of man, was the most ancient mode of religion. What do we call this in more science? Spirit clothed with soul made in the form of Allah.
Absolutely.
You see?
Absolutely.
So in this same measure here, I showed this is Wolof here. They say Allah. They say it means God, but it also has to do with his, her, it is him, to her, to him, to give to her, give to him, right? Of oneself. To give of one's best essence of oneself.
Hey,
You giving them God.
brother, when has he, him, her, she has not been equated to Allah?
That's what I'm talking about. So when you get into Allah, spirit has no gender.
No.
So it is his and her. In fact, in our Moorish Holy Quran, what does it state? It say the higher self. Not only is it Allah, but a spirit clothed with soul made in the form of Allah.
It's the mother of virtue.
It also and the mother of virtues and the harmonies of life.
Absolutely.
So there is no, masculinity in toxic expression over here. We deal with the man and the woman, which really talking about the God man and God woman ish. But that's a whole nother measure. You see?
Yes.
So
spark.
Yes, sir. And so now, go ahead.
I was saying the electric spark.
That's right.
The masculine and the feminine.
And that's why we call it twin flame. The flame is one, but it's twin flame.
Yes, sir.
The union of a God man and God woman, even if they're physical, represent their spiritual, and that is the true connection. This is why we see so many relationships that fail, because if the great God is not at the apex of that union, then there is no union. It's a bond of straw. It's a marriage of convenience. But a true matrimonial Hajj between God man and God woman, the great God is the apex. Even in
look at this, brother. I want you. I'm gonna put that on the screen. Look at this.
Yes, sir. Let me
read
let me
that.
look at it.
Read that.
Okay. It says El and Ella. Is she in Spanish? Elohim called El in the Spanish Bible, that particular one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a grand. Go ahead, brother.
Is that not saying what you're saying?
That's saying the same thing. That's a grand connection. And that's what we got to see. The etymology is scattered all over the place. But the problem is you have some people that take one part of the etymology they have, and they may not have a knowledge of the other etymology. And so they go with what they have. Not saying that that's what's being demonstrated here. I'm just saying that's what happened in most cases. And that's why you have some people saying, oh, it's a female, it's a male. No, the energy works through both vessels. In most cases, you're going to find etymology that trace back to a masculine and a feminine root.
And then let me say this for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about masculine and feminine,
that's right.
What we need to do is take our personality and our ego out of it.
That's right. That's
it
right.
Has no place in that.
That's right, because we ain't men or women bashing. That's right.
Exactly. So what you should do is look at functionality.
Functionality. That's right.
Masculine.
And the purpose.
Purpose is functionality. You know what I'm saying? Design denotes function. So
that's right.
Let's go with that particular perspective when you hear masculine and feminine instead of the
right.
Gross grotesque form of man and male and female.
Islam. That's right. Islam.
Yes, sir.
Now, what we have here, and we did a little code breaking on this.
Oh, yeah.
We got a little bit more for our family in the future, but we showing you some of the methodology on how you deal with the metanetic. So we see Ayah is clearly here unveiled. All of this necessary because ain't nobody been able to debunk this information. So what I do is I compile it because it makes the argument stronger the more that we find. And I represent it to you, so you can see how much more we have. This is really overkill here. We done really proved our thesis. But when we go into the essence of it with the, oh, man, ain't nobody, you'd be crazy to come up in here.
Come on, let's overkill it. Let's go.
Yes, sir. So right here, the image above is from plates 1 and 2 of the Ani Chef Papyrus of Ani. I'm telling you where it's at. It says, Ani was a scribe who died in ancient Kemet, Egypt, approximately 3,300 years ago. This chef papyrus found in his tomb. This is the ancient Egyptian origins of making dua to Allah. You say, well, now how you going to go and say that, Brother Shedu? Now you're going to have to prove this. That sounds pseudo to me. You know, what do you mean making dua to Allah? But I'm going to explain it to you right here. This is the same nature that you see that squatting here. You can look at his beard and tail and his head dress. Same nature.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, this is to give. Give what? Praises. That's a symbol of adoration and praise. If anybody know about Kemetic determination, that's elementary. We know that. To give praises. To give what? Praises. Dua.
Mm-hmm.
What is the significance of the dua? The umduat, what is referred to as the underworld. Many people think when we say underworld, you talking about hell. But underworld, or the halls of Amenti, is really referring to that in which you cannot see with the carnal eye. In other words, you're talking about spirit.
The hidden.
Yes, sir, the hidden. This is why we speak of Amen Ra, the hidden that becomes manifest.
Absolutely.
Hidden and then becomes manifest as a result of the light of Ra. So the dua, what is this symbol? This symbol, not only does it represent, you know, the cosmology, the stars, but this is also a symbol of the Seba, the teacher, the instructor, the Saba'it in Mir, the teachings of ancient Kemet. You see, this symbol here, Amduat, Seba, represent both of them. But I'm going to show you something. Let's go to what the Egyptian priests have to say about it. This is the last, one of the last true priests that came before Champollion that was actually a priest. I take his word about how we deal with Medu Neter. And so he's given an explanation on how you deal with all these glyphs. He said when the ancient Kemites intimated, you know, the depiction of the star, listen to what he said. When they would symbolize the mundane god or fate or the number 5, they depict the star and they use it to denote God because the providence of God maintains the order by which the motion of the stars and the whole universe is subjected to his government. For it appears to them that without a God, nothing whatsoever could endure. And they symbolize it by faith because even this is regulated by the dispositions of the stars. And also the number 5, because though there are multitudes of stars in the heavens, 5 of them only by their motion perfect the natural order of the world.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, good brother.
Bro, you know what that reminds me of?
Go ahead.
Is the celestial course or the orbital arrangement of the planet Venus.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The celestial ship that moves along the course of the north.
Right. And you know, Venus is also known as the planet of love.
Yes, sir.
You know, Venus is also known as the twin of Earth.
Yes, sir.
Venus is also known to create a pentagram throughout its orbit through the celestial realms.
Yes, sir.
You know, all of this is connected. That's what I'm saying.
That's right. And the Big Dipper rotates around it all. And the Big Dipper is known as the Confesh, or scimitar that rotates around the star. Hence why the prophet brought us a scimitar above the star. That's a cycle going around the star. He brought it back as it was elevated. Those who came before him, they had it beneath the star. You know who I'm referring to.
Yeah.
If you ever heard of the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor.
Yes.
They brought the scimitar beneath the star.
And
our prophet brought it back above the star.
And it was also known as the ox bone, right?
That's right. It was known as many things to many different people. Most universal symbol everywhere. You can find it among the Orishas, within the crown of the king and the queen, their union. The crown of the king has the scimitar at the top. The crown of the queen has the star there. So this is actually man, we're going to keep going. Because we're going to end up going somewhere else.
You doing it too. Yeah, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on? We are giving praises, making dua to Allah. You see? Giving praises to Allah. Remember I was speaking of that earlier?
Allah. Yeah.
Ara. I just put both of the sound shifts there so I can people can see what's going on.
Allah.
That's right. Now there's a grand, powerful measure in this Ara and Allah, and it's right over here. And you can find this all over the place if you look at various dictionaries. Allah. What is that? The field of peace, the plains of peace. We call it fruition in Moorish science. We call it third heaven in Moorish science. In the Grand Quran, it says, "Come to me, soul that is well in a state of peace, a soul that is content." This is what's being referred here from a Kemetic standpoint. In the religion of the ancient Egyptians,
that's what we call the heaven within.
The heaven within. In the religion of the ancient Egyptians, Allah, field of peace, was a field of peacefulness reserved for the souls of the redeemed. It was located in one of the 4 sections of Amenti. Remember, I talked about the underworld, the halls of Amenti. Similar to the Elysium fields of Greek mythology. That's what the Greeks tried to do their remix. Here, the god Horus dwelled waiting for the time of this return to the earth, when he would reestablish the ring of the gods and restore the whole world to its original glory. That's where your Christian concept of Jesus waiting in the heavens for his second coming derives from. Huh? He's in Allah. Right? Now watch this.
So listen to this though, brother.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
The land, right, of Allah, right?
That's right.
When we look in Quranically, when we talk about paradise or Jannah,
ethers of the native
always talking about a land or plush or
that's right.
Yeah. So it's giving the same principle.
Sidrata Muntaha.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Where Muhammad he went into the 7th heaven. Absolutely. And it is said he seen the land of milk and honey. He beheld 70,000 angels between 70,000 veils of light, circumnavigating the 7. Oh, did I say Kaaba?
Yeah, you should.
You see? Oh yeah, Islam. This is Allah, and this is really the same thing being expressed, but just from another measure. Watch this.
Absolutely.
Variations of the field of Allah, a field of Aru. See how they did the sound shift between the L and the U? The L and the R. You see they did it, right?
Yeah, they did.
According to the ancient Egyptian legend, now watch this, known as the destruction of mankind, which was first discovered in the tomb of Seti, the first. The god Ra, tired of ruling over disobedient people, hard-headed, stiff-necked people of the earth, retired to the sky. Now you know where that sky daddy concept comes from, where he created for himself a place to dwell and rule. Ain't that what somebody do? You go to a secret or a silent place, a quiet place. Ain't that what a mystic is taught to demonstrate?
Absolutely.
The Quran says, "Is not the earth spacious enough?"
But Jesus said it too, going to the closet.
That's right. It says, there he created a great field of rest, Allah. So the heaven that not only Heru found himself in, awaiting his second coming, but also Asa is said to be there. I got sources on that, even though I didn't put them in here. This is the same place, Allah. So Kemetically, we find that Allah is not just some spook outside of the self. It represents a state of being and a state of existence.
Absolutely.
So this is the true essence. That's why we say, where's the nearest place we can meet him?
It's in
the heart. It's not talking about the blood pumping organ.
And as man unfolds,
Like God
It's
unfolds.
God unfolds.
yes,
And
sir.
so when you see the prophet with his hand there, remember there's a ladder from which man climbs from his heart up into the heart of Allah.
The
And that's when
threefold
you go
soul.
into consciousness.
Threefold soul. Yeah.
That's right. So watch this. Now that we understand that we're dealing with a real God, we understand that the great God has always expressed himself this way. Now we see the Kemetic connection again to Allah. We see the way it's spelled, but that don't change the etymology. It's still dealing with a divinity that is higher. Is that the master of the house more honorable than its walls?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
The book of the dead describes, says that upon death of the human body, this is the location of the newly formed soul. And it is here they will spend their time in harvesting the divine crop. So we know this is the paradise of ancient Kemet. At some time referred to as Seket Allah, or Seket Anru. It says the field is surrounded by a wall of iron. And it said, and that really represents the strength of a divine will. Because you don't have to die to go to Seket Ara.
Mm.
You can die spiritually, but you can dwell in this peace, this peaceful garden, this field of peace, while you still on the manifest. And that's what it means to bear witness to the proximity of Allah. The field is surrounded by a wall of iron,
The God.
which has that strength of Allah made manifest, which
The
has
God.
many doors. That's right. That's right. It say it is traversed by a river, barely grows to a height of 7 cubits. Alu has also been compared again to the Eleusinian fields of Greek mythology.
Why
And this
7
source,
cubits?
say that again, good brother.
Why 7 cubits though?
That's right.
That's another question though. We'll deal with that later.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure will. Because
Yeah.
that's divine math right there.
Yes, sir.
But it says source, Broderick Concise Dictionary of Egyptian Archaeology. Brother told you we're going to be bringing some measures dealing with archaeology and everything.
Absolutely.
But everything our family seen on the manifest, they didn't just see it as it was. There was something divine to it. This is why you see the parallel. As it is above, so it is below. As it is within, so it is without.
Mm-hmm.
This is what made ancient Egyptians master teachers and adepts, because they didn't just see the things around us as just what they are. They didn't see a tree as just being a tree. They was reading the book of creation. And that's the science of deciphering Medu Islam.
Islam.
Now watch this. Because we get ready to, we take it off, but I'm showing our people all this symbolism so they won't have no doubt. Overkill. What is the symbol of Islam? The olive tree. So what I did is I showed the symbolism of the different hues here. And I showed here in this measure here, this is, Ra is the root of the Arabic word Nara, which becomes Nur. Because Nur represents what? Light.
Right.
Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. It literally means light. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. A lot of people like to get caught up in the physical Muhammad ibn Abdullah. We give honors to the prophet. We come through his lineage.
Yeah.
Through the Ansara.
Yeah.
We actually come through his lineage being Moors. A lot of people don't know that.
However,
from the Fatimid.
However, though.
In the Alawite house. But however,
yes,
the Muhammad of the light is the most important Muhammad that people have not tapped into. And you got to learn something about Tasawwuf and Sufism to go there.
Now you got to go into, different aspects of ultraviolet.
That's right. In the different spectrums through which that one light shines and touches everything.
Yes, sir.
Expresses itself in many colors. This is the truth. Muhammad al-Nur.
Yeah.
That's the real Muhammad.
That's the real.
That unite the people.
Yeah.
So Allah is the light of the heavens, which is symbolic to the mind, and the earth, which is symbolic to the body. this earthbound Asiatic body.
Mm-hmm.
Asia represents the body and Attic represents the mind.
Another one, who allowed Muhammad?
There you go. There you go. Now it says the parable of his light is as if there were a niche, and within it a lamp. The lamp enclosed in a glass, the glass as it were a brilliant star. Amduat, Seba, God, lit from a blessed tree, an olive neither of the east nor of the west. You can't confine the light of divinity to the east or the west. That's why I tell you in Surah 2, Ayat 115, whithersoever you turn, there's the presence of Allah.
Face of Allah.
You see? It's the light,
Yes,
whose
sir.
all is well nigh luminous. Though fire scarcely or barely touch it, light upon light. Light and more light, huh? Allah doeth guide whom he will to his light. Allah doeth set forth parables for men. Allah doeth know all things. Lit is such a light in houses. And I just tell you, say Asia is the body, Attic is the mind.
Mm-hmm.
The highest thing in the house is your attic. That's your storehouse of knowledge. Asiatic.
Can I say something else too?
Go ahead, good brother.
Attic.
I'm gonna say this. When we go to attic, we have to deal with the heavenly realm.
Right.
And we talk about the heavenly realms. I want you to investigate a term called the dial plate of heaven.
Dial plate of heaven, the upper room. Which Allah, or the Holy of Holies, we can even say.
Yes, sir.
Allah hath permitted to be raised to honor. So it's on Allah if he permit you to be raised and have that lighthouse lit.
Mm-hmm.
Can't nobody put it out when Allah give you the light.
How can they?
See what I'm talking about?
No power, no authority to do so.
That's right. Unless you believe that somebody else's power extend beyond that of the great God.
Bingo.
And why would you do that? It
How
says
could
for the celebration. How can you do it? It says in them, his name, in them he is glorified in the morning and the evening. That means this is cyclic. When you wake up, you lay down. It's in you. You fixed in this.
Mm-hmm.
Surah 24, and we know every surah is a degree.
How can the solve be fit? How can the fix be solved?
How can the fix be solved? Because you got so much fixing to do. You fixing to do what?
Yeah,
So
and guess what? Fix represents the material,
that's right.
and the pliant represents everything that's non-material.
Everything non-material, which brings us right here. So we talking about the light, right?
Yes,
Now, it speaks of the exalted ray, and I'm going to show you what his statement comes from. In the Arabic language, you find ra/ra, raha/ruh. This is the etymology here for ruh, rah, and raha. This is spirit. So we automatically see the Kemetic connection to that.
Whoa, brother.
Go ahead, good brother.
Because some Arabic speaking brothers say no. That's ruh means soul.
If you go into the definition, you will find that it means soul and spirit.
Yeah,
Depending on who's expressing it. Because
interchange.
that's right, because when the soul has adapted to spirit, they become one.
Yeah,
That's the spirit clothed with soul made in the form of Allah, and it's vibrating fast.
That's one.
The separation comes between soul and spirit when one is moving with a sluggish will.
That's called fine. That's from a finite point of view.
Finite point of view. Islam. So now look, it says light, Ra and Ray, spirit clothed with soul. I use this symbol as an example of what was interpreted up there in the ayah. It says lamp equals ba, spirit, niche equals ka, soul, and that's your niche down there at the bottom. That's your lamp flaming up out of the niche, and the spirit as well. And then you see spirit clothed with soul symbolic to the glass, which we call sahu, or flesh divine.
Absolutely.
And this is expressed through what we call alif, lam, alif, ha, or we call arm, leg, arm, head. It's expressed through us. As much as people hate that, it tells you in the Grand Quran that your 5 limbs are going to bear witness against you on the day of resurrection. That's the arm, dead, leg, arm, head. That's the Allah that's going to bear witness against you. What you did, with your hands that are at the end of your arm. What you did in the paths that you took with your leg having the feet at the end of them. What you did with the way you were thinking, your ways, actions, and deeds. So every day you are actually your heart is being weighed in a balance, like Kemetically. Your consciousness is being weighed in a balance, and your heart better not outweigh the spirit Kemetically, because you get devoured. You see? So we're showing you these teachings have been held intact under a veil. We're lifting the veil of our sect, of ISIS right now. Come on now.
The lesser light.
That's right. So those who know what I'm saying, they understand exactly what I'm saying now. But watch this. Remember we was talking about that exalted ray?
Yep.
Let me show you something. And we actually getting ready to go into I'm going to fly through a lot of the other stuff in our stuff. Not fly through it, but they're going to be able to digest it as I move through it in a pace. But I got to show you this. This is coming from Sahih Muslim, book 39, hadith number 6699. It states the description of the day of judgment, paradise, and hell. It says, Abdullah B. Masood reported that a Jew scholar came to Allah's apostle, may peace be upon him, and said, Muhammad Abu al-Qasim, that's another name of Muhammad, verify Allah the exalted and glorious would carry the heavens on the day of judgment upon one finger, and the earths upon one finger, and the mountains and the trees upon one finger, and the ocean and the moist earth upon one finger. In fact, the whole of creation upon one finger. And then he would stir them. He would stir them, right? And say, I am your Lord. I am your Rabb. I am your Rabb. Thereupon Allah's messenger, may peace be upon him, smiled, testifying what the scholar had said. And he recited this verse. And they honor not Allah with the honor due to him. The whole of the earth will be in his grip on the day of resurrection, and the heavens in his right hand. Glory be to him. I and highly exalted is Ray above what they associate with him. Glory be to him. I and highly exalted is Ray above what they associate with him. Now, we already know the highest thing that's exalted is the light. Highly and glory be to him.
Sun is not Allah.
There you go.
It's his noblest image.
That's what I'm telling you. The sun is not Allah, but is as noble as him because of the divine light that the sun symbolizes. And boy, that's opening right up. You just cracked the code then, brother. Now watch this, because we're going on into our slides. You know that after this one right here, that goes in everything else. This is Aur. This, again, is the expression. There you go again, Ayah. Standing on his square with the eye array. We know Ara. Like I said, they had the right idea, but wrong concept. We're giving you the right concept. You see? Aul-A. All plus R equals Allah. See what we have R means to rejoice? That's what we're referring to here. Aur, they go that L and arch interchangeable, the name of a God. Look at the deity again. There you go. Every time they use that deity, that nature, there you go, right there, right? Even when you see the one planting the flag, this is the same nature. You would see it there, and you would see the flag being planted. That's the symbol for nature, God. It says the Sufi adepts teach that the Aullah in their status, this is the collective of saints, or those who are of what we call chiefs on high, exalted chiefs on high. It says sometimes some people can say ascended masters, master teachers, whatever title you want to use. Sometimes the physical external body, the zahir, which deals with the exoteric, the physical body of the A'ullah is so weak that even if a mosquito were to bite them, they would be distressed and disturbed. We know that. We done been bit by mosquitoes.
Yes,
However, their internal condition, batin, the esoteric, the true light, is such that it contains the 7 heavens within itself. In the Grand Quran, it tells us that the 7 heavens, they were created in 6 days, and on the 7th, Allah rose, istawa. He rose. This deals with the omnipresence, omnipotent, omniscience. This is what we call going up above the sun, moon, and stars around the almighty throne of Allah. That's what the prophet told us he was going to take the Moors up above the sun, moon, and star around the almighty throne of Allah. So it says, therefore, one cannot truly estimate the power and the vastness of the internal condition of the bati, of the A'ullah. In terms of the level of their physical beings, they are with the rest of creation. Yeah, we in the earth with everybody else. When you look at us physically, we just this body. But in terms of the level of their soul, go ahead, brother.
I'm talking about mineral, plant,
all that, all
of it.
All that. But when you get into the level of the soul,
what separates man?
Yeah. But when you get into the terms of the soul, they are constantly in the presence of Allah. I'm in the world, but not of the world. So why then would their souls not be able to encompass the 7 heavens? The average intellect is not capable of truly recognizing the status, position, and states and conditions of those that are in the proximity of Allah. They see you just as an NBC. They see you as just some Negro, black and colored man. They don't see the great God in you. Islam. So, last but not least, to segue into the grand measure, this is just evidence of showing you how the R is interchangeable with the L, even in the charts that they tried to create. R and L is interchangeable. See, they say Ru here, L, this is similar to lion. So what we did, if we do the interchangeable measures of the sound shift, because that's what we call it, AALU equals AARU, Alu. We seen that earlier in the definition I gave you all. Anru, the name of a celestial city. We know that's the field of peace. Aru, reeds. There you go again. AAALU, AAARU, reeds. Come on, we can't make this stuff up. AALL, AARU, or AARR. The God of the field of reeds. We know that it's dealing with Ra, the light, because we know Ra was the one that went there and established it. We know that's where all the God men ascend as well, such as Asar, the Heru, yourself when you leave here, myself when we leave here, our people.
We can't even mention. Hold on. We can't even mention Amen Ra.
Can't even mention Amen Ra
without speaking about the hidden and the manifest realms of reality.
And check this out. When they used the word in the beginning was, when they say the light was separated from the darkness in Kemet, the word Ma'or is used there from Ore. That's M-A-O-R. The U interchangeable with the O becomes M-A-U-R. So this is the light that was separated from the darkness in the Hebrew text, but it also becomes Amen Ra. Mar is a name for Amen Ra. Powerful. See the connection between this? We can't make this stuff up. You've seen the videos. Now, this is what we get good at. After all that I done said, showing you how the light comes through us, this set precedence of where we at now. Now, I just took both of these symbols to show you them in clarity instead of being in the collage of being jumbled up. We already explained this, so there's no need for us to go into the explanation of these again, outside of saying that this is Kemetian with these 2 signs. Both of them represent the proto-Allah glyph. Nobody can deny that, but the key is they came forth in the 18th dynasty where monotheism was first expressed. This is the proto-doctrine. Guess what it represents? The hieroglyphic example of the divine titles, Kenti Neteru, means foremost of the gods. Oh my God. Is Allah not considered the foremost God according to the teaching of ancient Kemet and the teachings of Islam?
Absolutely.
This title formed by writing Kenti as above, followed by the word for gods, Neteru, designates a deity as supreme among all gods. La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. So this is the Kemetic Kalima Shahara part itself. Watch this. It wasn't the name of a specific God, but a prestigious epithet applied in different contexts to elevate a god's rank. Now, this was done during various dynasties. Whatever god was being demonstrated, they was represented as Kenti Neteru. Now, we have to know that prior to all the dynasties that come on the manifest, the first prophet ever sent to Kemet, now, was known as Idris, also known as Akhnut or Enoch, also known as Tehudi. So this was their prophet, according to the history of Islam's prophet. The prophecy of Islam, the history of the prophet, they say that Akhnut was sent to Kemet. And we know throughout history, Arabs and Islam in classical sources, I got them right here. I'm going to actually mention some of them in a minute. They refer to this history of Hermes Trismegistus known to the Greeks, Idris known to the Arabs, and Akhnut also known to the Arabs, and Tehudi being the same entity. And if you go into the history of Enoch and look at the book of Enoch, and they say he went through the 7 spheres, and read the history of Tehudi, he went through the 7 spheres. There was a judgment that was about to take place, and he was warning the world of the great deluge. Both Tehudi went through this and Akhnut, because they were the same entities under different names. Just as the flood myths, as they like to call them, were given under different names. But it was still talking about the same incident. All over the world. This is before they had the internet. For those who don't believe it. Native American had the story, they told it under a name. Then the Indians, the African people had a name, Sumerians had a name. They all told the same story. How these people gonna have that same story and they were way thousands of miles around the earth if something didn't happen? And there was more than one flood, if you understand the records. That's the reason why the pyramid was built, so that the story can be told. But anyway, it says it wasn't the name of a specific god, but a prestigious epithet applied in different contexts to elevate a god's rank. Now, we're going to show you what this is. The common examples of divine epithets with Kenti, Egyptian transliteration meaning associated deity. Kenti Amentu. This is the foremost of the Westerns. You go deeper into this, they say that this actually represents the dead. If you ever heard of the Egyptian cemetery of the West, of the dead, in all actuality, they also say hereafter. The furthest west, if we were to look at it, being that we in the furthermost west coming from Kemet, we already in the hereafter.
And we was already called the dead.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. So the hereafter, now check this out. The hereafter, being that we already in the hereafter, this is after our people done founded paradise on earth. So we in the hereafter coming through hell. We done came through our hellacious condition, but the hereafter, that hell is peace. We out of the state of Jerusalem that the European established, right? We in our own state of peace. So this is what this was the title that was actually given to Al-Sar too. Kenti Neteru, the foremost of the gods. Remember, I told you they was giving it in context throughout many different measures. But you're going to see that this was changed under a certain disposition of worship to apply to one deity. It says, Int Tep Il, the first of the eastern horizon. Some people say horizon. Ra, right? The light that sits at the hill or the uppermost peak of the mountain. Some people say Mount Meru. You know, Kint Seneta, Kinti Seneta, foremost of the divine booth, priests or sacred animals. You know, now watch this. This will get good. Another uses of Kinti Setneter is foremost of the god, the first of God. Another fascinating epithet, Kinti Senecher, was written as Kinti Senecher, meaning first hall of the god. Amit is the first hall. The heaven, that which goes beyond what you can see with the physical eye. Remember, we were talking about that earlier. Foremost of the god, where Ra went, right, to establish itself. Now look at this comparative chart. This will get good at, brothers. A comparative chart between Aten, because I asked myself, dealing with etymology, what of the comparison between Aten, Ahat, Allah, and Kinti Neteru? So upon my investigation, I found that Aten, coming from the ancient Egyptian 18th dynasty of Akhenaten, where the dispensation of worship was changed to the worship of polytheism, back to the worship of one God. And that worship of polytheism came as a result of the Hyksos, by the way. Those who didn't understand our culture, and when they usurped the throne, they began to worship man. That wasn't our ancestors that was doing man worship. These were the usurpers that were on the throne in Kemet. That wasn't our ancestors that had the Israelites in bondage, as they like to call it. Those were the Hyksos. But that's a whole nother measure. We'll get into that at another time.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So the solar disc symbolically represented radiance. Now look, theological function, Kemetically elevated by Akhenaten as the sole source and life of creation, universal sustainer. What's the parallel to this? To Ahat, in my investigation, in singularity, universality anticipates Allah as the Lord of all the worlds. So we see the oneness between Ahat, which is an attribute of Allah dealing with the oneness, and Aten, which deals with the universal sustainer of creation. Let's go into Ahat, also in vice versa, through the Quran and Islam. It means one, or unique, and declares Allah's indivisibility and oneness. Kuhu Allahu Had. Ahad, Kuhu Allahu Had, parallels Aten in rejection with multiplicity. This is what Akhenaten did. This resonates with Kinti Neteru as supreme. So you see why I say this was the Kemetic Kalima Shahada?
Absolutely.
The foremost God and the one unique God. What's the difference between those two, fellas? Nothing.
Nothing.
Foremost God and supreme God is the same thing. I don't care how they try to remix it and switch it around and whatever. Now look, Allah, the Arabic term, the God, and they say Al-Ilah, right? Allah, right? Allah is the right measure. Al-Ilah often is referred to as, some people say, demigods and so forth and so on. But we had to show the difference between the two so we can establish that this represents the absolute transcendent God of Islam, beyond form, indivisible, Lord of all the worlds. What is the parallel of this? And the culmination of the theological principle of Akhenaten begin with Aten. See? Kinti Neteru, ancient Egyptian, general uses, epithets, foremost of the gods, the supreme among the gods. This title applied to deity as supreme above all others within a polytheistic framework. Conceptual precursor to Aten's singularity and Allah's supreme sovereignty. Goodness gracious. So in my thesis, like I say, I'm running through it. There ain't really a lot here left after this. I'm just running through it so we can open up the floor in a few minutes. The 18th dynasty of the Akhenaten monotheism as a proto-form of the concept of Allah. The religious reforms of Pharaoh Akhenaten during Egypt's 18th dynasty represent one of the earliest recorded attempts to elevate a single divine principle above the traditional polytheistic framework. By exalting Aten, the solar disk, Akhenaten displaced the multitude of deities with a universal singular source of life. This transformation may be understood in the light of ancient Egyptian title of Kentu Neta, foremost of the gods, a designation that positioned a deity as supreme above all others, foreshadowing the latter Abrahamic conception of divine oneness. Linguistically, a profound continuity emerges between the Egyptian Aten and the Arabic Ahat, meaning one. Both terms emphasize the singularity and indivisibility of the divine, with Aten functioning as the sole source of existence in Akhenaten's theology, and Ahat enshrined in the Quranic declaration of monotheism, Hat. This phonetic conceptual similarity underscores the deeper Afro-Asiatic linguistic and theological stream that links ancient Egyptian religious thought with Semitic expressions of divine unity, be it Hebrew or Arabic, biblical or Quranic now. This is the precursor. Thus, Akhenaten's theological revolution should not be dismissed as an isolated hearsay, but rather seen as a precursor to later monotheistic traditions. His elevation of Aten as the supreme principle reflects the same spiritual impulse later codified in the Islamic understanding of Allah as Al-Ahad, the One. Both traditions reject the divine multiplicity and emphasize the ultimate sovereignty of a single transcendent source. Oh my God. In this sense, Akhenaten's monotheism anticipates the Abrahamic emphasis on unity, positioning the 18th dynasty as a crucial pivot in humanity's evolving conception of divinity. That's why I showed you the 18th dynasty. I showed you the glyph coming out of that Kemetic time. That's thousands of years before Muhammad was even manifest. The proto-glyph was present, just waiting for him to call it Allah. It says, by uniting Kinti Neteru, Aten, and Ahad, we uncover the continuous theological thread, the recognition of the one supreme above all gods, the absolute reality behind creation, and the eternal truth later enshrined in Islam's declaration of Tawheed. The rest of these measures are shorter than that one. You ain't got to worry about nothing that longer. So we running through it. So this is a symbol of Allah surrounded by the attributes of Allah. You know, this is what this big 99 attributes, right? Behind it, you can see a silhouette. You can see the Aten disc with rays coming out from it with unks and hands being handed out, you know, Kemetically. Now it says Akhenaten's 18th dynasty monotheism and its resonance with the concept of Allah. My investigation told me the introduction, the ring of Pharaoh Akhenaten in Egypt's 18th dynasty, 1353 to 1336 BCE, marks one of history's earliest and most radical experiments in monotheism. Rejecting the polytheistic pantheon of Amun, Osiris, Ta, and others, Akhenaten elevated the Aten, the solar disk, to the status of sole divine principle. Remember, the foreign worship of all of those others that were known as men or divine natures came through people who didn't understand our worship. So they began to worship man under the name Amun, Osar. We're talking about the Hyksos now. Those who had usurped. So it took Akhenaten coming back in to correct that. So he elevated the Aten or the solar disk to the status of sole divine principle. While often regarded as an anomaly or hearsay, his reform may instead be understood as a proto-form of later Abrahamic monotheisms. He was doing it first. In other words, he was the Muhammad of his time. Because just as Muhammad went and destroyed all of those idols, them 360 idols in the Kaaba, 360 degrees of falsehood, and brought one into 360 degrees of light, Akhenaten did it during his time, and vice versa. Muhammad did what Akhenaten did during his time. This thesis explores the parallels between Akhenaten's Aten and the Egyptian title Kenti Neteru, foremost of the gods, and the Quranic conception of Allah as a hat, revealing a deep linguistic theological continuum. All you got to do is look this stuff up to our audience. Historical context. We're coming to a closure, family. Akhenaten and the Atenist Revolution. Akhenaten's reform dismantled centuries of religious tradition centered at Thebes. He closed temples, redirected wealth to his new capital. Akhenaten martyring Amarna and the exalted Aten as the source of all life. Hymns from his reign portray Aten not merely as a solar body, but as a universal sustainer of creation. See, this ain't meaning they worshiping the sun. He's a universal sustainer of creation that's being worshipped under the symbol of Al-Shams, or the sun, whose rays nourish all beings without distinction. What did it tell you in the biblical or the Piscean record? The sun shines upon the righteous and the wicked.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah,
Truth came to many nations, people. Everybody had a prophet that was sent to them out of 124,000. Out of 25 that we know of.
Yes, sir.
See the light coming from that? At the end of the light is the hand. We say the hand is symbolic to the mind due to its will to shape, mold, obtain, retain. So these masterminds who receive the light throughout different cultures throughout the world, it all came from one source. To each of you is the goal to which Allah turned you. We have all been given a Sharia, a law that was prescribed for us. In adopting this theology, Akhenaten shifted divine identity from anthropomorphic gods to an abstract singular principle, while scholars debate whether Atenism was true monotheism or henotheism, and henotheism is nothing more than saying the Most High is working through his attributes. The supreme devotion of one God without denying others, the rhetoric of exclusivity, there is no God besides him, aligns closer to the monotheistic tradition. That was taught in Kemet. So the Kenti Neteru, for most of the gods, the epithet Kenti Neteru was applied in the Egyptian religious text to deities elevated as supreme among their peers. It functioned as a theological tool to establish hierarchy in the polytheistic context. By applying a similar principle to Aten, Akhenaten universalized the title. So under him, the title Kenti Neteru became foremost of the gods. The Aten was not of simply foremost, but of singular beyond comparison. This linguistic framework foreshadows the Quranic instance that Allah is Allah, or Al-Ali, Al-Ayla, the Most High. One of the attributes, Elahad, the One, Elahad. The Egyptian conceptualization of deity surpassing all others set the stage for the radical idea of abolishing the divine multiplicity altogether. Linguistic resonances, Aten and Ahad, the comparison between Aten and Arabic Ahad reveals striking similarities. Phonetic overlap, sound shift, both words share the vowel, a consonant structure with the central T, N, and D phenome, shift from common across Afro-Asiatic languages. In Egyptian, Aten carried the Semitic feel of radiance, unity in Arabic. Ahad carries the theological feel of indivisible oneness. Semantic parallels, Aten was conceived as a universal source, unifying power behind visible creation. Ahad in the Quran emphasizes Allah's absolute indivisibility and singularity. Say he is Allah, the one. Huhu Allah Ahad. Surah 112, ayat 1. The eternality of oneness, both terms negate multiplicity. Aten erased rival deities. Ahad negates associating partners with Allah. Sure. This resonance suggests that Atenism may represent an early crystallization of the same Afro-Asiatic religious impulse later codified in the Abrahamic scripture. Theological parallels again, Aten and Allah, universality, Aten's hymns, emphasize that Aten gives breath to Egyptians and foreigners alike. Prior to Akhenaten correcting the worship, people would think, oh, well, our worship just deal with us. We doing our own thing. But no, Aten gives breath not only to the Kemetian, the Egyptians, but foreigners alike.
Mm-hmm.
That's the unity of Allah. Anticipating the Quranic idea of Allah as Rabbil Alamin, the Lord of all the worlds. If he the Lord of the world, he the Lord of everybody. In immateriality, unlike the anthropomorphic Egyptian gods, Aten was abstract, represented only as a radiant disk. Similarly, Allah transcends form and imagery. Exclusivity. Aten's texts declare, O soul, besides whom there is none. O soul, God, besides whom there is none. If that ain't, there is no God but Allah. Echo in the Quranic Shahada, there is no God but Allah. If you can't see that, that's crazy. And this is Akhenaten shifted an Egyptian religion from polytheism to a universal source. Kenti-Neteru reflects the Egyptian hierarchical supremacy idea, which Akhenaten radicalized into absolute supremacy. Ahad codifies indivisible oneness in Arabic, conceptually similar to Akhenaten's declaration about Aten. Allah is El-Ahad, the one represents the full theological maturity of this impulse, a universal transcendent indivisible God. Conclusion is what we all been waiting for. Akhenaten's Atenism was not a historical dead end, but a pivotal stage in humanity's search for divine unity. By elevating Aten through the framework of Kenti-Neteru, the foremost God, right, and rejecting multiplicity, Akhenaten anticipated the theological trajectory that culminated in the Abrahamic insistence on the one God. The linguistic and conceptual parallels between Aten and Ahad suggest that the Egyptian experiment with the divine oneness resonates across millennia, finding its mature expression in the Quranic revelation of Allah's El-Ahad. In this sense, Akhenaten may be seen not as a heretic, but as a precursor, a pharaoh whose theological visions foreshadow Islam's central proclamation of divine unity. You know, and so even his name we find, you know, the connection between his name, you know, the king position is adding the foremost Kenti deity. His name functioned like that of a verbal proclamation of Akhenaten's supremacy, echoing the role that Kenti played in the divine epithets of earlier gods. Just as Osiris was called Kenti-Emeninu of the West, Aten through Akhenaten became Kenti-Neteru in practice of foremost gods. So, you know, that's why he changed his name from Amenhotep, you know, the fourth, which means effective for Aten, a living spirit of Aten. His name emphasized devotion to Aten, the solar disk, rather than the older Theban god. We were showing here, we actually have this up. I ain't going into this document, but I got it here. It's actually right here, you know, dealing with the concept of Allah as the highest God in pre-Islamic Arabia. But I will quote this particular portion here. You know, one of the portions was actually talking about the Arabs. And this paper is actually a study on pre-Islamic Arabia. This is a poetry before Muhammad was brought forth as a prophet by Najama Sayyidi. This was a thesis that was submitted to the Faculty of Graduates of Studies and Research in partial fulfillment of the requirements for the degree of Master of Arts. So this is an academic paper. You know, in this paper, it basically tells you that in the terms of religious life, the Arabs held for the foremost part in pagan beliefs, but not to the extent that many assume, since they also believed in a supreme God named Allah. So that means though they were dealing with paganism and them 360 idols, they believed Allah to be the supreme being. They knew the difference. They knew him to be the creator and sustainer of the universe, as suggested by the Quran. You know, and they quoted Surah 29, Ayah 61 and 63. If you ask them, who is it that created the heavens and the earth and subjected the sun and the moon, they will surely reply, God. How then can they turn away from him? If you ask them, who is it that sends water from the sky and resurrects the earth after its death, they will certainly reply, God. Say praise then be to God, but most of them are senseless. When they felt the urge to make a vow and invocation, this is the pagan Arabs before Muhammad, they seldom referred to their various gods and goddesses. Instead, they called more upon Allah, often upon Allah as their witness. For example, Imru al-Qays around 500 to 540 AD has a woman swear on several occasions. She, his lover, I swear by Allah that you have no way of attaining what you desire, even if I see allurement appear from you. So before Muhammad even came, they had the concept of Allah being one. This didn't start during this time. That's why we say, well, Muhammad didn't bring nothing new.
No.
You know, he brought a perfection. Okay, so here we tell you we believe under the body I studied with of Sebagatullah. You know, Sebagatullah is a practice of the ancient Sabians. In the Quran, it tells you that the Sabians are among those who will be rewarded for their worship. The Sabians are descendants of the ancient Cushites. So this is our version that corresponds with Moorish science. The Sabians are ancestors of the Moors. But it says this science that the Sabi'un had, they draw it from the Quran. It's referred to as Sibigatun. Look at Atun at the root of Sibigatun. It means to dye, color, baptize, immerse, hue, assume the attribute, mold, mature code of law and religion. What this is speaking of, if you ever heard the quote in the Quran, we take upon the hue or the color of Allah. This word Sibigatun is the word that's used there. It's not talking about literal color, but it's speaking of the color of divine law, the code of the law. So in my body, we call this, you know, our code that we go by. Nothing wrong with Malata Ibrahim, you know, the religion of Abraham. Nothing wrong with Dini al-Allah, you know, the religion, you know, of, Dini al-Islam, the religion of Islam. But we deal with Sibagatullah, the path or way of life of Allah. You know what I mean? Taking on his attribute. That's pretty much a path of Tasawwuf. That's embodying divine light. So it says in the Holy Quran, Surah 2, Ayat 138, the attributes of God, his code of law is called God's Sibaga. This word has been adopted as a hint to Christians that the baptism of water does not affect any change in a person. It is Takluk bin Akhlaq Allah. That is adoption of God's attributes and broad principle of faith. See, this is what it means to be in proximity of Allah. This is that second Allah degree that we were talking about. Being in the existence, you know, of Allah, our state of being, it brings about the real change in the mind and character. At least it should.
Absolutely.
And, we at the last slide right here, family. You know, this is actually, we have our prophet being, and this is one of the expose degrees. You have people always talking about, yeah, Muhammad got, Noble Drew Ali got his drawing from Hunter D.I. Grant, you know, and so forth and so on. But what they don't know is Hunter D.I. Grant tells you in the preface or the beginning on where they got it from. Check this out. It said it was natural for those in Tibet to attribute the manuscript of one of their great writers, such as Confucius or Lo Kun. It says, but in the light of modern research, and especially in the light of revelations made by the excavations in Egypt and Jerusalem within the past 100 years, and since 1749, where the Tibetan copy was translated into English, we can plainly see the original manuscript was not written by Confucius or one of his time or nation or beliefs. This is one of our Asiatic brothers now, the author of this drawing, meaning its translation anyway. It says there's every indication throughout the work it appears to the following pages that it was written by Amenhotep IV, Pharaoh of Egypt, during the years of 1360 to 1350 BC, or hereafter by some of his successors in that great school of mysticism which he founded in Egypt. So the brother Akhenaten is being given the credit of our chapters that deal with what we call our social duties, you know, that you find in Unto Thee I Grant, and they are said to be Kemetic. So if the life and works and teachings of Yehoshua that come from the age of 12 up to 18 deal with him being in Kemet, along with these chapters dealing with the social duties being in Kemet, as well as the adept degrees that he went through in Kemet, that would mean that the Circle 7 is a Kemetic book.
Islam.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. It says, now, it ain't strange that everybody tracing back to him. Reference to any encyclopedia will reveal the fact that this pharaoh upset the priesthood teaching and idol worship of Egypt by establishing a monotheistic, mystical religion, and every authority on the history of religions point to him as the first man in civilized world to proclaim the belief in one God. And he has been rightfully called the greatest modernist of his time. He established a coded secret brotherhood based upon this mystical religion in the city in which he founded, named Akhenaten. So it confirms it again, that he basically did this. But like I said, that's our last slide. And we just gave this as a bonus to our people to show you that our prophet was an Egyptian adept master. This is a scribe known as Kenti. And if you look at the master sign that he demonstrated, he has his hand over his heart. Just like the prophet, right hand over the heart and left arm dangling. This is really the symbolic 7 here, if you understand Angel's prophet. You see? If you understand Angel's prophet. You see?
Yes, sir.
Our brothers Cook Bay said they was blessed from their privates to the crown of their head. 777. So it says the word Kenti. This is his name. Listen, Keti, also written Keti or Keti. This is the root of the word Musketi that's connected to the scimitar too. But that's a whole nother measure for the future. Ketiyu is an ancient Egyptian personal name that appears frequently in the Middle Kingdom and first intermediate period of history. Its meaning is debated, but Egyptologists generally translate it as strong one. Is not we in the Moorish movement referred to as becoming the strength of Allah made manifest?
Upright, fearless.
But who became that before us? We had to follow in the footsteps of a strong one. Our prophet, he of strength, derived from the root kent, strength, body, thing, substance, sometimes also associated with the body, or that which is enduring. We hear about that Bactrian camel of endurance that's well set up for the journey along the way. Huh? You got to be strong more.
Facts.
Active and not passive. Since Kent in Egyptian means thing, object, body, or matter, or affair, Keti, in essence, the name Keti carried connotations of strength, endurance, or possession of substance, a fitting title for rulers, scribes, and nobles. We see the scribe on the right, we see the noble on the left. So we have plenty of our citations here, family, that just tell you where you can go and look at this. Citation of the primary sources supporting the thesis, Akhenaten and Aten. Go and look into the great hymn of Aten. You'll find this in the Marno teachings of Tomb of A, primary text where Aten is praised as the sole God, but besides whom there's no God. The boundary of the stele of Akhenaten and the Myrna stele. Many of you might have heard of that. A lot of the Israelites like to quote it because Israel is said to be in some of the stele, as they say. Royal proclamation that defined the religious program and exclusivity of Aten. The rock tombs of Elamarna. This is also going into a law and a hat comparisons. We have the Kuhur Law hat degree. Went over that. We know that's in the Quran, Surah 112, 1 through 4 ayats. Verses affirming the law of singularity and transcendence. Neteru, foremost of the gods, the Kemetic, Kalima Shahada. We just taught our people something now, the foremost of the gods. They ain't going to keep telling you our ancestors was no idol worshipers. That come from them European scholars that don't want you to know the true essence of what they really taught. The comparative usage, also dealing with that which is Kenti Neteru in reference to the furthermost of the Westerners, the All-Star degree notes on the anchor of the comparison, the exclusivity of the language, the great hymn that includes the sole God besides whom there is none. Universality went over it. Aten nourishes the Egyptians and foreigners alike. The formlessness, Aten is represented abstractly. So don't be saying he was no sun this. The abstract and the metaphor, the metaphysical expression represented divine light, the true spirit of divinity. Islam prohibits anthropomorphic images for Allah. from foremost only to only, the Egyptian epithet such as Kenuneta encode the hierarchical supremacy. Akhenaten radicalizes this into exclusive supremacy, aligning conceptually with Tawheed. So that's my grand drawing. And again, this is a paper for y'all to get. I ain't gonna go over this here. It is some measures, that I might address if somebody asks some questions or something. But this is another paper, you Moors, and the people that are not Moors, get your hand on this. This is another one. And this is also one submitted for actually a degree of PhD from ancient Egypt in the medieval Muslim Arabic writing. It tells you about all of how the Arabs adopted Kemetic teachings. It tells you about they adopted a lot of the symbolism. So it ain't strange when I showed you Muhammad saying exalted his rank in the Hadith. But it also have Tehudi, that history connecting them to Hermes Trismegistus, Tehudi. It talks about the pyramids, on how some Sufi scholars sent some of their students out to Kemet. And then when they came out, they asked them, well, what do you have to tell me about the pyramid? Oh, I ain't got nothing. And they scolded that particular student. Like, how in the world you gonna go to Kemet and you ain't got nothing to come back and tell me, about them pyramid? So yeah, that's another paper for y'all. I just showed you this one right here, the concept of Allah as the highest in pre-Islamic Arabia, before Muhammad came with worship. Look that one up too, you can get it. And I also gave y'all Horapollo right here. This is Horapollo, and it's giving you not only a breakdown on the 5-pointed star, but it tells you how he was demonstrating this, not as alphabets, but he gave you metaphysical breakdowns, on the thing. And this is another too. Read the commentary in your Yusuf Ali Quran. It's page, I want to say, let me see, it's 920. I was going to go into that here, but it's really no need for me to go into it. It was just a portion talking about Akhenaten in here, dealing with the oneness, of the teaching. In fact, it was right there. Just talking about the Pharaoh, the Exodus was probably thought means around the 1st and 14th BC. The Pharaoh Amenhotep the 4th, 1350 BC. You see, they all agreeing on the same time stamp. Adopted the worship of one supreme God in the state religion. He had been a high priest of the sun god at Heliopolis, but he had begun to look upon the multiplicity of gods in the Egyptian pantheon as a blot on the Egyptian religion. His original name had been Amenhotep. Amen is satisfied as being devoted to Amen, the great God. He was dealing with the Amen degree. That was his concept of Kinti Neteru at the time. And then when he came forth, he changed the name Akhenaten, pious, and he worshipped the supreme God under the name Aten. So I'm going to stop sharing now. I just want to try to unpack that so we can open up the floor for our family. But I mean, how can you go against all of that right there?
How can you go against all that?
How can you go against all of that?
You have to put it together.
Thank you, brother, for your patience.
Yes, sir.
We don't even have a question in the chat. Everybody is like amazing Bill. Bro, you don't have any questions in the chat.
Everybody agreed.
Brother, good brothers, I didn't have it in my mind to even deal with this, right? I just went into an area because that's how things come on me. It's just like when I write my music.
Yes,
I can't just go up and force my pen.
Yes, sir.
When I feel something, all the lyrics line up just like they're supposed to.
And they got it.
Right. I get writer's block if I try to force something. So with this, it came, brother, because the ancestors wanted to come through. As I got the Kemetic ancestry. Everybody that know me, that done seen me show up my DNA markers, it ain't strange that this yearns out of me before even going to do the DNA test. I was doing the work for you, seen it, Brother Seven. Yes, I was already talking this stuff. The DNA just made me say, now I see why I have a affinity for this stuff.
And then you stepped on it harder.
Yes, sir. And that's what, ain't no turning back now. Why is it that this thing came out of me to fight against those who brought this old fake language that they trying to kick as Metal Netta and honest our brother Walter Williams. Walter Williams, I met him on Sarnetta's channel. I didn't know anything of it, but I was going back and forth with some brothers that wrote a book, and I got some works that I'm completing now because all my stuff done been peer-reviewed. You was there, like you say, you done been there for the whole thing.
Oh, yes,
so I
sir.
ain't got to worry about nobody being able to debunk or type this because they'll have to go against modern academia. And I ain't even showed all the primary sources that I got. You know what I mean?
I can't wait till you drop it.
Yeah, so I'm making sure I do it right. So when our people get this information, because that's been my only intent. When y'all get it, y'all don't have to go through this head busting research that I done had to do. Yet they don't know, bro. I be up 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes 7 o'clock. I've been doing that for 20, 30 years, brother.
Bro, I see you posting at 3 or 4 o'clock.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I've been doing it like that, so they don't understand. That's why before YouTube, I as astute as I am, I ain't just started doing this on Sarnetta. When I open up my channel, I've been doing this and I've been consistent with it. This is my way of life. This is my natural high. You know where I'm coming from? And so I just want my people to see the truth in the oneness.
Facts.
That's my whole goal, to bridge the gaps. I don't want to fight with you, but if I have to fight, I'm the wrong one to be messed up with.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to make you realize why you didn't want to fight me. You know what I mean? So you rather accept the love. I'd rather come in white clad garments, to demonstrate in all black. Because that ain't nothing but an NBC thought pattern. And I'm using that in a symbolic way.
Yes,
I know the bridges that unite all the Moors in the various different bodies. And it really represents love. No matter what you call yourself. Because at the end of the day, can't now one of the bodies exclusively say, I got exactly what the prophet did. We can say we have the intent, of rebuilding and dealing with that and applying that to the self. Praise be to Allah for all my brothers, no matter what grand body they are part of, no matter what lineage they come from.
Absolutely.
All I ask is they respect the lineage that I come through. Because my chairman didn't teach me to hate my brother. He didn't even teach me to hate those that he felt went against him. He said, them still my brothers. I love he said, if you teach Moors to hate another Moor, you become what you hate. That's what my chairman taught me. He didn't go, but his thing was, he was the AKHENATEN of his time. What he was trying to show them wasn't going against the prophet. He was trying to show them the prophet brought us something so that, he established his grand major temple, but with that knowledge, we supposed to build our own nation. What did he say in his oral statements? He said, I established my Moorish Science Temple May 1st, 1916. Told you I can call it off the head because I don't really need it, but I can get the book. Y'all know the quote though. He said, for the purpose of teaching our people to be better citizens. That would be under what they was at the time. But I established my Moorish divine and national movement for the purpose of the uniting of the Asiatic states. And that's where we done dropped the ball at. We ain't united the Asiatic states. And I don't say that to criticize. I'm talking about all of us. The Asiatic states don't just include the Moors, though. The Asiatic states include the Hebrew Israelites. It includes the Nation of Islam. It includes the Black Panther Party. And then we can go on. Various different brothers and sisters in street organizations.
I say this, bro. You see my work.
That's right.
Right.
So in other words, what I'm saying, when we say AKHENATEN, because that's my chairman, his name is AKHENATEN Heruphant. He was an AKHENATEN to us in this era and time, trying to bring our people under one umbrella, in government. And it didn't have nothing to do with rivaling what the prophet established. Even our flag, it ain't got nothing to do with going against what the prophet established. It was necessary to go to the UN and be accepted without conflict, so to speak. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That don't take away nothing the prophet brought in the temple. It's not in opposition or competition. Mm-hmm. That's just the work we doing based upon when the prophet said, I'm going to lead a European here to teach you Moors how to run a government. And if we already had that established, he wouldn't say teach you how to run it. He would have said he was going to leave him here long enough to teach you how to run the government I already have. So that means that there was work for us to do, and we still got to do that work. We ain't finished. We ain't did it yet.
Facts.
And we see what's going on with Rome right now. So we know we need ours better than anything. We done tried everything else. And it ain't about promoting a body over nothing. It's us coming together with all this wisdom and oneness. You know, so with that being said, you know, I just say I love you, brothers. You know, for the sake of Allah.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
it's an honor to be here. You know, and if y'all got anything y'all want to address or questions, you know, we can go back and forth and maybe they can learn.
Yeah.
You know,
bro,
from the
let me tell you, let me tell you this. You are my brother, and we'll never go back and forth.
That's right.
And
That's right.
And guess what?
And I never disagree with you, brother.
And
even where people think we may disagree, I never disagree with you.
And if we do, it will be in private and never be in public.
In the public. That's right. That's right.
Never be in the public. So what I say to everybody watching this stream and this live stream right here, this podcast, is know that I stand for true Moorish unity. Yeah, some people will feel like if we ain't thinking the same, we can't unite. I understand your premise, but guess what? No matter, the prophet said this: we all seeking peace.
And the gifts of the understanding are the treasures of Allah. We ain't got no monopoly on that. Just like people trying to say Muhammad was the last prophet. Well, Prophet Noble Ali said a prophet is the thought of Allah made manifested in human flesh. So to stop the line of prophet, that means you got to stop Allah from thinking. You can't do that. That's simple.
As long as man lives, Allah lives. As long as Allah lives, man cannot die.
Man live. That's right.
Yes, sir. And man is a thought of Allah. So, man, you know, listen, bro, I'm your, like I tell everybody, bro. My Grand Sheikah chairman is Brother L. Portisel out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. My Grand Sheikah is the Sister M. Portisel.
Honest to your administration.
And honest to Brother Idahu Pleasant Bay and his administration. And guess what we will do? No matter what they do, we gonna stand together because we Moorish. We gonna stand together because we Moorish. And this should be a statement for every Moorish American watching. This is my brother.
That's my brother. Islamism without the schism.
Without the schism.
Don't care how nobody think about it, feel about it.
Feel about it.
That's my brother. I stand with it.
Yes, sir. And guess what we're gonna do? Everybody in the chat, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. But guess what? We got things to do in the AM. My brother industrious. I'm industrious. We all industrious. So guess what? We gonna sign off. Islam.
Islamism. Enough work for all us to do, Moors. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Good brother.